Yes, Mr. Finch, and may I please apologise again for our staff bumping into you in the hall. It is rather difficult to avoid somebody who can't be seen. Thank you for understanding. Have a good night, Mr. Finch. Oh, hello. Are you the new hire? We've been expecting you. Yes, I've heard very good things about you. You were exemplary during your interview. It's rather rare among the people we meet. I am very happy to be the one to show you around today. Oh, but where are my manners? My name is Jack Oliver Lantern, at your service. Charmed. Now, here at the Last Resort, we pride ourselves on accommodating everyone. And I mean everyone. You'll be working the night shift, as quite a few of our regulars come back late. You'll learn to tell them apart from tourists or one-time customers, I assure you. However, despite having a rather relaxed environment between staff here, we do have a few rules for the staff to follow. Nothing too fancy, but they are a must to ensure everything runs smoothly. You may not understand now, but once you've heard them, I'm sure you'll agree they're quite necessary. Now, here is the reception. You'll probably have to do more than one job in the hotel, as we are slightly understaffed at the moment. But most of our employees start here. We do this so you can become accustomed to the customers, as you will almost always be in contact with them, and it's always best to be on their good graces. The first rule to follow is that all customers must be greeted and given a room if one is available, and they can afford it. But in the event that someone enters the building between 1:20 AM and 1:45 AM, they must be ignored until they leave. Do not acknowledge them, do not talk to them, and do not look them in the eye. They usually leave after a few minutes, but if it seems like they aren't leaving, there is a small button under the desk. Press it and security will take care of the rest. There's never been any incidents before, don't you worry. At least, no recorded incidents. But as long as you follow the rules, I assure you everything will be fine. The second rule is to keep room 215 vacant at all times. Even if all other rooms are full, this key must never leave its place. And if someone asks for it, you must tell them it is already reserved for someone else. Some people will insist for this room specifically, and can get aggressive at times, but you must stand your ground. They never cause physical damage and will eventually leave on their own, but of course if you feel threatened, feel free to contact security anyways. I am not meant to answer any questions that aren't directly related to the rules, but yes, room 215 is reserved for somebody. But that person hasn't come by here in a long, long time. And if they did, we would have a very different situation on our hands. One that no amount of rules will protect us from. Alright, that's it for this area. Did you remember all that? Very good. Let's move on, shall we? Here we have the restaurant. You'll find the times it is open taped to the door. Outside of those times, if you see someone eating anyways, don't disturb them. They're probably one of the regulars. You won't be assigned to the kitchen, but you will most likely walk past it, and that is why I am letting you know now. Never walk into the kitchen. The food here is tailored to our regulars' specific tastes. It isn't really a rule per se, but it is something you need to keep in mind if you want to enjoy your time here. However, the third rule is that no one is allowed to take food from the restaurant with them. If you see someone taking leftovers back with them, remind them of this rule, even if they are a regular. Chances are they just forgot about it. They do tend to do that sometimes. Though, when you're living a life like theirs, we can't really blame them for it. But the thing to remember is, no one can ever take food from here. No exceptions. Did you get all that? Marvellous. We appreciate quick learners very much here. A lot less trouble happens thanks to them. Oh, I almost forgot. Guests may sometimes offer you food that they intend to throw away. You must never accept it. They have to throw it away by themselves. Now don't look at me like that. I know it seems wasteful, but I assure you, it really is for the best. I can promise you that you don't want what they're eating, and they know not to take the food with them, because where they're going, they won't have use for it much longer. I know you're probably asking yourself some questions about the origins of our rules by now, and I apologise in advance, but I am not allowed to answer any of them. As I said, I can only offer clarifications if you have trouble understanding a rule. But enough of that. Let's move on, shall we? We still have a few places to go through before you can start working. Here, we have the pool area. It is pretty big, isn't it? We've received a lot of compliments on it. It's usually busy every day, and to avoid the drain getting clogged, we have to clean it once every 2 weeks at minimum. The others will explain to you how to do it. It's actually quite simple when you get the hang of it. But here's the next rule. Once a month, the water will turn pitch black. When it does, don't panic. It'll go away on its own before the next morning. But during that time, no one is allowed near the water aside from staff. You will have to keep others away, as everyone, even you, is forbidden from touching the water. And if something, or someone, is to fall in it, do not go to look for them. Whatever falls into the water will be gone before it is clear again. You don't need to worry. Everyone loses something to the pool at some point, but they all move on, eventually. Your shifts here will be rather short, as it can be emotionally draining. Before we chose to shorten shifts, we had an employee leave without notice. He had lost something very recently, and we assume he ended up jumping into the pool to get it back. So now, we ask you warn us if your feeling of loss becomes too overwhelming. We care about our staff's physical and emotional safety after all, and we wouldn't want to invest all this time training up staff for them to go missing. Anyway, that's it for this area, so if you follow me, I will take you to one of the final areas we have to see. Not to worry, we're almost done. How are you holding up so far? Good. I must say, I'm very satisfied with what I'm seeing so far. We did a good thing by choosing you for the job. Why couldn't we have found you sooner? So we'll be taking the stairs now. The elevator is sadly out of order this week. You'll be seeing the first floor only, as the others look the same, and we don't want to exhaust you today. It is your first day after all. No, there'll be plenty of other days for you to explore the rest of the hotel. And here we are. If you're assigned to work here, you'll have to check if customers took all of their belongings with them before they left. And that they didn't steal anything from the hotel room. The simple fact that we check is usually enough to deter people. But we have some who think they're clever and test us anyway. The layouts of the rooms are more or less identical, and if something has been changed, you'll be notified. The fourth rule is that you always keep your key with you at all times. It will allow you to access all of the hotel, even the restricted areas. The guests' keys will only let them in the places they are allowed, and it is very important that it stays that way. Should you ever lose or misplace your key, you need to notify Mary immediately, as she is in charge of them. Tell her your name and that you aren't in possession of your key anymore. She will handle the rest. But whatever you do, do not stare at her. She has quite a temper on her. The last time I made the mistake of zoning out in front of her, I found myself dodging a flying lamp. Bloody Mary. Anyway, pick another staff member to work with until she sends you a replacement, as you will still need a key to get around. Lastly, the fifth and final rule. There is no fourth floor. Don't listen to anyone telling you there is. If they tell you that's where their room is and they need help getting in, don't ever follow them to the elevator or the stairs. Turn them down and tell our head of security, Mr. Stein. Frank will have his security staff escort them off the premises. But you should avoid the area you saw them in for a few days if you can. They may try again. And this concludes our little tour. Any questions? Sadly, they will stay unanswered. As I explained before, I can't tell you anything. I do hope you will find the answers yourself at some point. However, someone as smart as you surely will. I'll let you begin your shift at the reception until somebody comes to give you your schedule and explains your tasks in detail. we hope you'll enjoy working here at the Last Resort, as much as we'll enjoy having you around.